Hello Thistledown gang, welcome back to my channel if you've already been here. If not, hi, welcome, lovely to have you here. I've been wanting another logo for Friday Fixes, my tiny series where I just sit down and talk while I fix things or make tiny crafties. Ever I started filming the first one, but it didn't really turn out the way I wanted that time, and I don't know, I didn't really like it. So I haphazardly threw something together from Victorian ephemera pages and then call it a day. But it has been bothering me. It is just, it's a stand-in, and I figured I might as well show you what went into making the new one, because I really like behind the scenes. I am keeping the banner slash thread thing from my old hand-drawn design, because I kind of like that. I like banners. But I'm ditching the spool of yarn. I'd much rather only have the needle, and it reminds me of the heart and sword thing I painted onto my pants for the last lookbook. I think that's kind of a thing. I just like that. And then the scissors are leftovers from the logo that I eventually used, so the ephemera one, and I just like them as well. But now they are open instead of being two pairs crossed over each other, and I used my actual, drawing table scissors for reference. The hardest thing, of course, as I mentioned in my last Friday fix actually, was the font. And that was actually also one of the reasons why I was really not happy with the first design I drew myself. But in the end, the thing that really worked was returning to my roots. As I mentioned in the Friday fixes before, returning to my roots of being a little Art Nouveau fangirl, and for the font that I eventually used in this, I just looked up several Art Nouveau posters and then looked what I liked about the script and extrapolated from there. The X was actually a very annoying thing, and I decided to leave it out of the font, and I found a workaround for that. So I decided to use fonts from several posters actually, not just one. If you ever spot the reference, hey, you're absolutely welcome to comment that. I then just scanned it and cleaned it up, and I'm not making you watch this in detail as it is tedious and horrifically boring, so this is just a symbolic clip, and I think that's enough. I wanted to keep the white on color thing I already had going on with the improvised logo, so here we go, inverting those colors. I found that I was a bit bothered by how the shading looked without any color difference compared to the rest, so I tried filling it, but spoiler alert, this isn't here to stay, so we don't have to look at the whole thing. I even tried to give it some texture, but that didn't really work either, so you can basically forget about me ever doing that here, but I wanted to keep it in for, completion's sake. Oh, now comes the super fun part, because I really liked the splash of color behind the ephemera logo that I did, and I wanted to kind of replicate the effect, but I didn't like what I could do with the computer. Digital artwork isn't really my strong suit, and instead I decided to make my own splashes, scan them, and then work them into the logo. I still had this super cheap chalk hairspray around, and I'm close to never using it, and the last time I used that was in the Valentine's lookbook for Cupid. She actually had a heart on my slate cut, and I can't even remember the last time before that, so it's safe to say I won't really miss it if I use it for something else. And I didn't really want to work with real spray paint here, because, that stuff is more expensive and the fumes are bad. So I sprayed it on thick and while holding the paper upright, so the droplets would be clearly visible and there would be more of a texture to the whole thing, and then I let them dry overnight and scanned them the next day. I made several because I wanted a few options, but in the end I think I used actually all of them for a nicer layered effect. So it took some time until I found out how to best go about isolating the spray bit on the computer. But in the end, the solution was just adjusting brightness and contrast and then inverting the colors before adjusting brightness and contrast again until I had basically what I wanted, and I could see more of what I was actually doing on a black background. I then turned the black into an alpha channel, so rendering it transparent, and then I layered copies of the spray over each other, so I just duplicated the layers to make the whole thing more visible. If I had wanted more of a see-through effect, I would have done less of that, but that was pretty much what I needed. And after I found out how this worked, I got through all of the spray bits fairly quickly, and I'm really glad about that. Oh, and now comes the probably the stupidest idea I had throughout the course of this entire project. That was incredibly time consuming, but I do admit that I like the results. I decided to just copy the shading I did on one of the blades of the scissors and use that to shade the rest of the piece. It would probably have been faster to just, scan it again and clean it again after putting all this in by hand. But yeah, I basically did that while I was on the phone with my mum, and that made it a bit more bearable. But it was a stupid idea, and this is why I'm not showing you the whole process. But yeah, let it be known that this is an option. It's not a smart option, but it is an option. Choosing color was basically the hardest part because, decisions. I'm not good at decisions. When it comes to digital color, this is actually my favorite workaround ever. There's this page on Wikipedia called Traditional Colors of Japan, which lists shades from traditional art and textiles and their names. And I have this bookmarked and use it as my palette almost every time I have to work with color on a computer, as I really like the range, and if I need something else that's not on there, I just tend to pick the closest color I can find and work my way up or down from there. And I just really enjoy looking at nice colors and their names, and I might have spent a lot of time on the Wikipedia pages for several shades of color. I do. I used a random photo as a mock-up background because we all know that very little, as in none at all, of my videos start with a stark white screen, and the difference of how the color shows on white versus an actual background is a bit, I mean, it looked really drab when I first tried, so I worked with this rather than a pristine background layer. At first I thought I wanted a dark yellow, like in the old logo, but when I experimented with other hues later, I really couldn't choose, so I made several. I'm a grown-up, I can have as many colors as I want. So, yeah, that's basically it. I might as well do more colors in the future if I find that I need them. And I hope you liked this insight into my design progress. I'm not a professional. I just do what my gut tells me, and yeah, this is basically a result. So yeah, again, thank you so much for watching. If you like this, give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe, do all that stuff. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!